Hi everyone, I'm Paulette Morrissey from Tulip Square, and this week I'm showing you how to make this cute ribbon bow block. It's pretty quick and easy. It's done with just squares and rectangles, so not too difficult for anybody. And you will find a free PDF for it in the description below. So we're going to head over to the sewing machine and get started and make this cute little block. Let's go. Okay, so for this ribbon block video, what you're going to need is light and dark shades of the same color. I'm going to make this one in red. That'll be kind of pretty. And you also need white or very light contrasting fabric. Now to start with, you're going to take the light colored rectangles and you're going to sew a white square to the left edge, and you're going to sew it diagonally like this. Now you can do that one of two ways. You can either draw a line on the white square and then follow it with your stitching, or what I like to do is put it on my sewing machine because I've got a line of skinny tape and just on my sewing machine that I can follow whenever I'm doing a straight center seam. So all I have to do with this is make sure my needle is lined up with the top point and the other point is lined up with this, the left side of that line. And then when I sew, and I keep that point right against that line when I'm sewing, then I've got the perfect diagonal line without drawing it. Because when you're working on something that's got a lot of diagonal lines, you get sick of drawing them pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all these, and when you sew something like a diagonal line, make sure you start on this top edge where you've got another piece of fabric, as opposed to starting down here where this will be more likely to get chewed up by your machine and caught a little bit. So start on this end and do all 8 of the light colored ones with a white square. We'll do that. We'll be right back. Alright, so once you've got that done, what you're going to do is you're going to cut off that outside triangle 1/4 of an inch away from the seam you did, so that you're leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Like that. You're going to cut all of those off, and then I'm going to press them open like this. Now you've got 8 of these all done, and we're going to set those aside for a minute, and you're going to take your darker rectangles and you're going to put a white square on each one, but this time you're going to put it, so how these were this way, you're not going to do that. It's going to be sewn this way. So I'm going to swing it over this way so I can start at the edge with the fabric, and I'm going to sew the 4 pieces this way. Now I'm going to cut these and trim them just like I did the light red ones, cutting off that corner and pressing it this way, and then you will see that your 2 pieces are opposite. So make sure they are. All right, so you have 8 of these and 4 of these. So now with these, you're going to take your remaining 4 white squares and you're going to put them on the other side, and you're going to sew them. Let's get that lined up. They're going to be sewn this way. All right, so when it's done, it looks like that. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these 4 squares on, and then same as before, cut the corners off. Be sure you leave a seam allowance of about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to go press these open, and then we move on to the next step. Now normally when I press pieces like this that have a corner in the piece in the corner, I press them towards the corner like I did on these. They were pressed towards the corner. But on these pieces I press towards this colored strip so that when I sew the 2 together they nestle better. So once you've got these 4 all done and you've got those 8 all done, then we move on. So to start with, you're going to take a light colored piece and a dark colored piece, and you're going to sew them together like this. So you're going to sew these together, just a 1/4 inch seam along here. Do that with 4 of the light colored ones and all 4 of the dark colored ones. Now you're going to take 2 of your little squares you just made. You've got 4 little squares like this. You're going to turn one this way, and then you're going to take another one of your rectangles and you're going to sew it right here. I'm just going to put it here, 1/4 inch seam, and do this to 2 of your squares. So you're going to have 2 that you do that with. Your second one would be the same thing, like this, and over. Now you've got 2 pieces like this. What you're going to do is take your next piece like this, and you're going to put it this way. So instead of this way, you're going to turn it 1/4 turn, and then you're going to sew it right here. So we're going to put that over, and a 1/4 inch seam there, and you're going to do the same thing with the second piece. Now you're going to take your last 2 rectangles and your single center square, and you're going to put these this way and sew the 3 together. When I pressed these pieces, I pressed always towards this bigger piece in the middle, so those seams go towards the center. So when I pressed these pieces, I pressed away from the center, so we have some nice nesting going on. So now all you have to do is put these 3 pieces together. This, and this. And that's it. Your ribbon bow block is finished. Kind of a cute one, isn't it? You put 3 or 4 of these in a row on a table runner with some sashing and some binding. That looked really pretty, especially if you did them all in different colors. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. So now you know how to make the ribbon bow block. That was a pretty easy one, wasn't it? Real simple, just 2 colors plus white. It works best if it's 2 shades of the same color. And the PDF board is in the description below. But there are no fancy cutting, no fancy sewing. It's just squares and rectangles and some diagonal stitches. And pretty easy stuff to do. It ends up to be, when it's in a finished size, it's a 10-inch block. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, which YouTube appreciates, so we can keep giving you more and more free videos. Also, hit the notified little bell if you want to be notified when we put up a new video, which is every Saturday morning at about 10 o'clock. So we hope we see you again next week. Have a good week. Happy sewing. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.